Today I'm here with Kim Laforet, and she is going to tell us answers to some commonly asked questions. So first question you get asked a lot is, what are closing costs and who pays them?
Well, closing costs are varied. You have seller's closing costs and you have buyer's closing costs. On the seller's side, the closing costs would be things like, of course, the real estate commission. There's a transfer tax that you pay to the state and to the county here in Michigan, and many other states have that as well. You've got title insurance to be able to insure to a buyer that you are giving them clear title to the property, and a tax proration. So you will in many places be responsible for taxes, real estate taxes, from January 1st up to the date of closing. So they'll prorate those for you. And then of course the payoff of your mortgage. A realtor will then be able to, when they tell you how much your home is likely going to sell for, or you have an offer, be able to do a net sheet for you, to be able to deduct all of those costs because they're all based on percentages. And when they deduct those costs, then tell you what you will net at the end of the sale. Now for a buyer, you have different closing costs. Those closing costs would be things that are necessary for you to obtain your mortgage. In other words, you're going to have an appraisal fee. You're going to have to pay for a flood certification to certify that it is or is not in the floodplain. You're going to have an owner's policy of title insurance, which ensures if there is an issue with title down the road that it would pay off the mortgage itself. And then any other fees that your lender will likely charge, perhaps an origination fee or points. And again, you need to make that clear with your lender so that you know what kind of closing costs as a buyer you're going to be getting into.
Okay, great information. Thank you. What's the best time to sell?
That's a great question. I found there is no best time to sell. The best time to sell is about 6 months before you want to move. How's that? In Michigan, very often the winter months are a little bit slower with listings. However, our November and December sales traditionally have been very high. There's less competition during those months if you think about it because of the weather. A lot of people don't want to get into selling their home when the weather is bad outside. So you're going to have less competition. If you're motivated to sell, that might be the best time to sell, is when there's not as much competition out there, because you still have motivated buyers. In fact, the buyers are more motivated during those winter months because if they have to move, they need to find a home. Then they might be more tire kickers in the spring and summer.
Okay. How do I know I'm not paying too much for a home?
That is where the advice of a good buyer's agent comes in for you as a buyer, where you can then say, what have other homes sold for in the neighborhood? And a good agent should ask you, how long do you plan to stay in the home? Is this going to be your forever home, or is this a stepping stone into your next home? Is it likely that you may be transferred with your work or take a job out of state? All of those factors go into that decision. So that agent can help you determine the best price for that particular location and the best features in a home that will help you with a fast resale should you need that down the road.
Great. Should I price my home higher to make room for negotiation?
That is one of the most common mistakes that sellers make. Homes that are priced right to begin with will often sell either at that price or even a little bit higher. Because especially in this kind of market where you have more buyers than you have sellers out there, you create a sense of urgency with those buyers. If they see your home is listed and it's okay, but the price is a little bit higher, they may show some interest in the home, but they're not likely going to make an offer because you haven't been on the market that long. They're going to wait and see. And if they see that 3, 4, 5 weeks later your home is still listed for sale and maybe either has had a price reduction or hasn't, then they're going to come in and they're going to offer something lower at that point, because they know that if it was priced right to begin with, you would have gotten an offer on it and maybe even multiple offers. It is not unusual if you price your home where your agent thinks that it should sell, that you will receive multiple offers. If you don't, then you know that even that price was a little bit too high. Because if it's either price or condition are the two reasons that a home won't sell. And so if it's condition, then there's something that you can do to change it. If it's price, there's only one thing you can do to change it, and that's lower it.
Right. Okay. How much is commission?
Commission is negotiable. And if you ever have anyone tell you that it's not negotiable, run, because it is. By law, it's negotiable. So when you are shopping for an agent, of course that's a good question to have, is how much is the commission, because that's going to determine how much you're going to be paying, obviously. But you do not want to choose an agent just based on the lowest commission. When you think about it yourself, would you, if you were being paid less for a particular job, would you do it as well as if you were being paid more for it?
Right.
And as self-employed agents, when you list a home for sale, you have a choice of either having an agent that goes all out with marketing and does cutting edge things. They do videos, they do drone videos of the home, they do professional photos. If you list it with somebody that doesn't have that in their commission, then you're not getting the best foot forward of your home. And that's when you really want to showcase your home, is in the very beginning. That's why price is so important as well, up front, not down the road. So make sure you know what you're getting for that commission. Don't just go based on the lowest price.
Right. That's good advice. Online real estate sites tell me what my home is worth. How do they determine that, and is that accurate?
Well, when you look at an online real estate site, all they're doing is they don't see the house, obviously. They're going just by analytics that they have gathered from the neighborhood and in the area. In other words, what is the average of 3-bedroom, 2-story homes going for in a particular area? They don't know that your home may back up to the expressway, which would decrease its value, or that your home backs up to the school, which may increase the value. So with all of those different analytics involved, you might be getting an idea of your home, and it could be right on, but I've seen them as much as $50,000 off. In fact, the president of one of the largest online real estate sites right now had a lawsuit because they sold their home for so much less based on what that lawsuit said, or on what the online site said it was worth. So you've got to be very careful. The best thing, again, is to hire a professional. You know, I can go on YouTube and I can find out how to take out my appendix, but is it wise for me to operate on myself? Same kind of concept.
Yeah.